Diplomacy and deterrence, that is America's strategy to contain Russia. We are talking about sanctions, soldiers, and military aid. Joe Biden is basically raising the stakes for Vladimir Putin, but the problem is Putin is not backing down. These satellite images should give you an idea. They show Belarus, Crimea, and parts of Western Russia. Around 100,000 soldiers are camping here. You can see tents, firing ranges, tanks, and missiles. Not only is Russia refusing to de-escalate, it is actually expanding the build-up. Many experts are talking about Belarus as a staging ground. And strategically, it makes sense. If Putin decides to invade, he can move in from two fronts via Belarus in the north and via Western Russia in the east. Moscow is already thinking along these lines. Its S-400 missiles have started arriving in Belarus as part of a wider joint military drill. They are calling it combat cohesion training. Tanks, artillery guns, and missiles will be part of these exercises. Russia's defense minister is personally overseeing the preparations in Belarus. In Brussels, the NATO is keeping a close watch.
Over the last days, we have seen a significant movement of Russian military forces into Belarus. This is the biggest Russian deployment there since the Cold War. With an expected 30,000 combat troops, Spetsnaz Special Operation Forces, fighter jets including Su-35, Iskander dual-capable missiles, and S-400 air defense systems. So we speak about a wide range of modern military capabilities.
Those are the ground deployments. In the skies, Russian planes are also performing drills. The Tu-95 bombers flew over the Atlantic northeast. Now, this plane is a Russian warhorse. Plus, it is nuclear capable. Moscow claims the drills happened in neutral skies, but Britain and Norway disagree. Both countries deployed fighter jets to intercept the Russian bombers. They were eventually escorted back into Russian airspace. So clearly, Putin is not backing down. In fact, he is going on the offensive. So Joe Biden is doing the same. He is sending 3,000 US soldiers to Europe, 2,000 of them to Germany and Poland, 1,000 to Romania.
President Biden has been clear that the United States will respond to the growing threat to Europe's security and stability. Our commitment to NATO, Article 5, and collective defense remains ironclad. As part of this commitment, and to be prepared for a range of contingencies, the United States will soon move additional forces to Romania, Poland, and Germany.
France is also planning to deploy soldiers to Romania. Needless to say, Russia is livid. They have called these troop movements destructive and unjustified. Does this mean diplomacy has failed? Not yet. High-level phone calls, visits by heads of state, all of this is happening on the sidelines. On Wednesday, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson spoke to the Russian president. The backstory is quite interesting. It was originally supposed to happen on Monday, but Boris Johnson had to appear in Parliament, so he cancelled it. Here's how Moscow reacted to that. Russia and President Putin are open to communicating with everyone, even to someone who is utterly confused. He is prepared to provide exhaustive explanations. Russia basically called Boris Johnson utterly confused. Nonetheless, the call did happen on Wednesday. Boris Johnson told Putin that attacking Ukraine would be a tragic miscalculation. Putin said the entire thing was NATO's fault. He said their response to his security demands was not adequate. Now, this phone call comes after Boris Johnson's visit to Kiev. That trip was all about PR, a public show of support for Ukraine. In fact, many NATO leaders are now lining up to visit Kiev. Poland's Prime Minister visited on Tuesday, the Dutch Prime Minister visited on Wednesday, and today, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is in Kiev. He has visited with a proposal. Erdogan wants to shift the Russia-Ukraine peace talks to Turkey. Now, these talks cover the war in eastern Ukraine, where Russia is backing insurgents. Until now, those talks were held in Minsk, but with Belarus openly joining the Russian camp, a change of scene may not be a bad idea. Ukraine is up for it if Russia agrees.
We would be happy to shift the venue to Istanbul. The Ukrainian side is ready for talks in Istanbul as well as in Geneva or any other place that is neutral and, most importantly, independent from one of the sides, namely the Russian Federation.
Another country is playing peacemaker, that's Germany. The Chancellor Olaf Scholz will visit Washington next week. He will also travel to Russia and meet the Russian president. Germany has been accused of being a fence-sitter during this crisis, of being too passive. Olaf Scholz wants to counter that narrative. Having said that, Berlin is yet to provide military aid to Ukraine. Most NATO allies have. Germany has only offered helmets so far. As of now, Russia's new military drills are the immediate concern. The number of troops, the type of weaponry, all of it will worry the West. Joe Biden has responded with some deployments of his own. He is also coordinating with his allies in Europe. On Tuesday, he spoke to the French President Emmanuel Macron. Both leaders agreed to protect Ukraine's sovereignty. So you have talks on one side, a massive military buildup on the other. It is a question of who blinks first. In such tense standoffs, it does not take much for things to escalate. One miscalculation, one wrong decision, and Europe could be plunged into war. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.